Youngie, was that one of the more thrilling events you've seen?
Yeah, it was right up there. It was a nail biter right to the end, but Thunder Power just lost out.
Just tell us why the partnership's important, mate.
I think, yeah, it's really important. They obviously they've upgraded to second tier, which they'll do some stuff on game day, and obviously the club needs support, and we're happy to get their brand out there and get them some business.
Saturday's not too far away. How are you tracking?
Yeah, going really well personally, and as a club we're going really well as well. We've built over the 3 JLT games, and we seem to put it together against Hawthorn pretty well, and now we're just really looking forward to round 1.
It sounds like there might be some new faces, Pepper, maybe Adelaide, Houston as well. How exciting to get an injection of young players in there.
Yeah, I think it's really good. All those guys have had really solid pre-seasons and put their hands up for selection, and you've seen over the JLT games that they've been able to perform at AFL level, which is really pleasing for us as a club. Obviously we like to see our young boys play, and we're not sure how many of them will play this week, but I think Kenny said Eddie's probably a lock, which will be really good for him. His story's brilliant at 27 to finally get a chance, and young Dan Houston, if he gets a game as well, who's gone through a lot of injuries over the last few years and been upgraded off the rookie list, that'll be really special for him if he gets a game as well.
The few new faces that you think could be inside, that could be named, who's really stood out for you?
Yeah, those guys I just said, and Peps obviously has come in as an 18-year-old, and what does he weigh, about 90 kilos, so he's pretty right to go, and you see him crashing and bashing around, so those guys have really stood up. There's a couple of guys playing in the Maggies tonight. Willem Drew is another one that we can keep an eye on, who played really well in the trial match last week, and we'll be looking forward to seeing him have another good game tonight.
What about Sydney? I mean, I know they've beaten most sides in the last decade or so, but I think they've won 13 of the last 14 against you. Are you confident you can turn that around, and how do you do it?
Yeah, definitely we're confident of going up there and getting the 4 points. They might have beaten us over the last few years, but we've had a lot of close games. I know a few years ago we pushed them up the SCG and just fell short, so we've just got to keep working on what we've been doing, and hopefully we can string that all together on Saturday and get the win.
What about the SCG? Obviously it's a lot of different dimensions than most footy grounds in the AFL. Like, what sort of things do you have to do different when you play there? Yeah,
obviously the SCG is a much smaller ground, so contested ball becomes a big part of the game, and that's probably what Sydney pride themselves on, so we've just got to match them in that area on the weekend, and if we can get the ball going our way, we've got some firepower up forward to kick some goals.
Looks like it could be pretty wet, I think, on the weekend as well. Does that sort of, how do you sort of tailor your game to the wet conditions?
I guess you've just got to kind of wait till the day. It's raining up there at the moment, but hopefully the forecast is to dry up for Saturday, and if not, we kind of go back to old-fashioned footy. You get the ball going your way and try and put a couple of goals on the board early and hold on from there.
Do previous results there matter, Youngie? I mean, like the boy said, it's not a happy underground. Last year you kind of got jumped in the first quarter. I mean, do you look at that and say, well, it's not been the greatest place to travel?
No, I don't think so. We like contested ball. That's our goal as well. We like to tackle and hunt around the contest. So the ground should suit us. Obviously, if it's wet, it makes it a bit harder for the skills, but we don't look at the results of the past. Obviously, we've got a much different team than what we went up there with last year. So, yeah, we're just really excited to get up there and prove ourselves against a team that has consistently been good over the last few years.
You've hit the scoreboard quite heavily last year. Will you be doing the same this year?
I hope so. Yeah, that'd be nice. Obviously I'll play forward again, and we're kind of focusing a bit more on getting team goals this year. So one week I might kick the goals, and that's all good. But then the next week someone else will. So we're just happy to put a winning score on the board, and that'll be good enough for us.
We spoke to Brendan Lade a couple of weeks ago, and he said that your role this year has changed a little bit. Can you just sort of talk us through about that a little bit?
Yeah, last year I probably played a bit more deep in the forward line, so I've moved up the ground a little bit more. Just up the ground a bit more and then racing back to goal. So it's a little bit different. It's a bit harder, a bit more running, which is not good sometimes. But yeah, it's a bit different. But obviously we've got a lot of guys in there, so we'll all play the positions and rotate around, and that flexibility is what we're looking for this year.
Has that meant a hard pre-season for you?
Sorry, buddy, can you look straight ahead here for us?
Yeah.
In terms of building up your running capacity and stuff like that, has that been tough for you?
Yeah, so obviously pre-season's hard no matter what. The running capacity stuff's something I've tried to work on over the last few years, and obviously as a team we're pretty good at that, so it suits us, that kind of game, to get our forwards up the ground and get back to goal.
As it turns out, the game against Hawthorn becomes a really good dress rehearsal, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Hawthorn, another team that have been really consistent over the last few years, and they were pretty much at full strength, missing a couple of blokes. We went out there and treated it as pretty much a round one match for us, and we put everything in place that we wanted to put in place, and there's still some things we can improve on. We still can lift the skill. Obviously, it was pretty windy down there that day. But yeah, we can continue to lift our skill level. And the thing that was really pleasing was the pressure we put on them.
Is the greatest challenge against Sydney just to open it up and get a little bit of outside ball?
Yeah, it's always hard to get outside ball against them, especially up at the SCG where the ground is much smaller. So, yeah, obviously if you can win the ball inside and get it out to our runners, that'll be really handy.
How close do you reckon Matty Broadbent will come?
Yeah, Brogsy trained really well today, so he's put his hand up for selection. That'll be on the coaches to choose who plays. Obviously, like I said, Dan Houston and a couple of boys down back have done really well in the JLT, but we know what Brogsy brings to the team, and he's really important for us. So if the coaches go with him, we'll be pumped to see him out there.
Youngie, was Pep's spot assured when he body slammed Burgoyne?
Yeah, it might have been. I think he'd raised a few eyebrows when he did that. A young 18-year-old pretty much lifting him up with one hand and putting him down. So, but Pep's has been really impressive. He got a fair bit of the ball against Hawthorn. We laughed, gave away a few free kicks, but he was cracking in hard, which is what we like to see.
A lot of talk this week about Tony Lockett and Buddy. Who takes Buddy, do you think?
No one takes Lockett.
Oh, I'm not too sure. I'm not down in the backs, but we've got a lot of backs that can play on him. So there's a few options. If one doesn't work, then we can try another one. But yeah, I think Homshi's gone to him the last few times and done pretty well. So hopefully he can get the job done.